how's it going? The name is Ilyrus, and this is the first ever devlog I'm making for this channel. This is even the first game dev related content I'm making, and it's for my first ever, hopefully, commercial game that I'm producing right now. A 2D hand-drawn adventure platformer game called Project Wisp. Well, let's get started. I am a digital artist slash solo indie game developer, if you can even call me that since I haven't released nor produced a finished game yet. I've only started studying how to develop games like 4 months ago, and I recently just started using Godot as my game engine to code and to make games in general. For my art software where I make my backgrounds and probably will animate as well, I use Krita. These two software that I just mentioned have something in similar. They are both free and open source, meaning you can probably make a game with these two while not paying monthly subscriptions and stuff like that. So, what do I want for my game? I want to make a 2D game at the very least. This is because I practice 2D digital painting and have absolutely no clue on how to model stuff. Continuing from this, I also wanted it to be heavier on the art side more than the code side. This is a result as well of not knowing a lot about coding. Not saying I dislike it, I just really suck at it. As for the story, I already had an idea of what I wanted to make. I wanted to have a small character in a big world encountering gigantic beings that try to chase you or end the life of the character. Yes, it's very general at the beginning, but I managed to flesh out a story with these in mind. I also wanted the game to be more of a show not tell kind of storytelling. This means no dialogue whatsoever in the entire game, and the players have to figure out and piece together the lore themselves. With that in mind, I won't tell you guys everything that I'm planning for the story or lore. Just the things that I think can be disclosed without spoiling the experience. Some inspirations that I have are from games that I really liked. Some examples are Little Nightmares 1 and 2, Inside, Shadow of the Colossus, and many more. You can see these connections to stuff like the scale of things like the character compared to the world and its enemies, and the show not tell type of storytelling. At first, I wanted to make a boss rush game. Since it made sense, I wanted a warp scale in the world and the enemies, and you will have to fight them, but I quickly realized that this will be a very code reliant project. This is at least in my perspective as an artist with no extensive knowledge about coding. With this in mind, I tried to lessen the scope of the code and landed in an open world game where you can walk, jump, and explore in 3 to 5 different areas, but even that, I thought it was a big scope for a first game. So I lessened the stages even more and landed on an idea that I'm sticking with called Project Wisp. Project Wisp is a 2D hand-drawn adventure platformer game on where you are a forest spirit stuck on a post-apocalyptic world that was caused by the mass destruction of the environment. In this world exist gigantic mechanical threats that were left behind by their creators following the mass extinction of most biological species. They showed the large amount of damage their makers did for the sake of their so-called progress. As you explore and survive in this post-apocalyptic world, you will slowly learn the cruel truth about the things that transpired in the land where you currently stand. Since I wanted to rely on art and not complex mechanics, I want to focus on the animations, backgrounds, and storytelling. But mechanics that I want to add right now are basic walk, controllable jumps, climbing, and environmental interactions. If you guys have any ideas on how we can make this more interesting, go ahead and let me know in the comments, or in my Discord server that I made. We can discuss things for the mechanics and the story in general. Or if I make any dumb claims on what I want to do and what I think is possible, please let me know. When I made my prototype, I was transitioning from Unity and Photoshop to Godot and Krita. This meant that what I made was just figuring out what Godot can offer when paired with Krita. Can it handle stuff like 4K images? Figuring out and watching tutorials about nodes and JavaScript. So as a result, this is what I made. I played around with stuff like parallax layers since in Unity, I used the code to make that work. I also tried some character movement and one-way collisions. I even tested out dialogues at first before scrapping the idea. One thing I missed to do was climbing and environmental interactions. I feel like those can be done by signals or something, so I'll figure it out. Overall, like I said, I just wanted to be on the simple side in coding as much as possible. When all is said and all is done, this is my first game that I'm trying to finish. I will probably make a lot of mistakes and take longer than I expected, make a lot of dumb claims on what I plan to do and can do. But if you want to know what will happen to the game, you can join the Discord, the invite is in the description below. Follow me on my socials like Instagram and Twitter, and of course, subscribe!